everybody.
Hey.
Welcome. CF 2.0 Geek Out. We have, and also we're streaming into the Ninja Hackers community, right?
Whatever
We have so many groups, I get the names mixed up. But we have Dan Havey joining us. He's going to be sharing some hacks, some
amazing Dan Haviness.
And also we're going to kind of dissect the new ClickFunnels homepage, landing page, sign up page thing, which they did some, I guess they have some cool stuff on there, Dan. Is that what?
Wizardry.
Well, they got some interesting stuff on there. Let's just say that.
Some interesting stuff. Yeah. So we're going to dive into that for the next, I don't know, half hour, 20 minutes or so. But real quick, we wanted to let everybody watching know, just because I don't think this ever, it kind of like quietly got launched, but there is now the option to sign up for a ClickFunnels 2.0 account on the monthly plans instead of the annual plans that we were promoting a couple weeks ago. Here, I'll just share. We're going to just look at the pricing because we want you guys to know about it. So there are still the annual plans. There is still actually, if you're like, I want the annual plan, use either our Geek Out affiliate link or Dan's affiliate link and get to the funnel builder promo, because that's still live and you can also get like some bonuses. I don't see those bonuses on this page. So
the funnel builder program, especially if you're going for the annual plan here, the funnel builder program is actually cheaper and you get a lot more stuff.
Yeah. So if you want the annual plan, don't buy it right here. Come get one of our affiliate links and buy it through that, because it'll be better. But the monthly plans are on here.
It still ends up being what, like a $3,000 a year savings?
I calculated it a couple weeks ago. It was like $5,300 a year cheaper than the monthly plan.
Yeah.
That's great.
So just come to this page if you want to do monthly. If you want to do annual, come talk to us if you're not sure where to go for that. But we'll just leave it at that. So in each of our groups, we have links posted and you can go there, and we each have bonuses. So use our affiliate links if you want bonuses. And I think that's good. Anything else to say about this?
No, we just wanted to let everybody know that there are other options now other than just the one plan. But like I said, honestly, the funnel builder plan is the best, cheapest, without a doubt. With all the cool stuff.
Even with the price. Sorry, Andrea. I was going to say, even with the price increase since when we originally were promoting it like crazy, it's gone up like $500, but it's still actually saving you money. So
it's still $4,000 cheaper than going monthly.
Yeah. Okay. Any other stuff to go away? Oh, I totally am not watching comments. Whoever's watching, welcome.
I know. It said, "Hey guys, Madison's here." Okay, just trying to find out who's the "Hey guys." My phone's slow to load. I'm coming.
Chris said, "Hey guys," over in my group.
Ah, okay, cool.
Got Madison.
Love it.
Welcome. Okay, so pretty much we're gonna let Dan loose.
He's us
gonna
on a
share
magical
his screen.
Yeah, a magical Dan hackathon. No, okay. So you guys know Dan, right? And so, but I have to say, I think part of the reason why Susan and I'm not going to speak for you, Susan, so you can jump in. But I think part of the reason why I really enjoy, so Dan first came into my life through design hacking. And he was just kind of this guy that like always answered stuff and like was annoyingly always smart and knew what was going on. And I was like, okay, I got to figure out what this guy's doing. So then and that was just like on basic funnel builds, and he knew how to do all the things. Like whenever we couldn't get something to do, he would like get us to help us to do it. Right. But then it's like, he has this other magical power around membership areas, which really, I think, helped what Susan and I try to do with clients come alive and made it possible. And so but the thing I love the most and why I'm excited about today, Dan, based on what you've said so far, is that like, it's always kind of the like, oh, I didn't know that was possible, right? Like I'm always surprised. And like, usually what you do, it's like a little idea, or it's like a little like, hey, I was just playing around with this thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we could do it here, do that, do this, do that. So anyway, I'm always excited whenever you start playing around or like hacking into it, because I think the possibilities start opening up. So anyway, just had a caveat it with that.
You know, and that's what I like doing. And it was Susan's sister one day. She's like, well, don't you get tired of people like asking all those questions like that? I go, Joanne, where do you think I get my content from?
Yeah.
This is where I get my ideas from, is people asking me questions. And I go, wow, I never would have thought of that on my own.
That's
and
awesome.
Ooh, that's, especially with the membership site stuff, I didn't create my best membership site stuff until after I sold my membership ninjas program. And then everybody in the group said, well, can you also do this? And I was like, wow, I never thought of that. And now built some really cool stuff. And we're going to do the exact same thing in 2.0, because I'm just chomping at the bit to really get that program to be working properly.
I love it.
And
I love it.
There.
So what Dan is saying is that if you have something that you need done, then you need him to do.
Let's not go too far here. I occasionally have to get paid and sleep, so that.
I don't know. The conversation we had just a little bit ago didn't sound like.
Apparently, I'm now everybody's slave labor. Okay, all right. Let's share my screen here before I lose my money.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
I cannot get Facebook to load, so I'm sorry for everyone that I can't see right now, and I can't put a link in the comments. But
am I sharing, or what am I doing?
We are not sharing your screen yet. It looks like you're going to be sharing the screen that has all of us on it.
Oh, okay. It's because I'm on the wrong screen.
There.
Okay.
Now we see that membership area, but it's not shared yet. Are you ready to share it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to do here. So yeah, I don't see you guys anymore.
That's okay. You can hear us.
Yeah, I guess I can turn you on my other screen over here. Ooh, we got the music playing. We'll turn that off. Which we may have. Okay. Oh, there we are. Perfect. All right. I can see everything on my other screen now. Cool. Okay. This is a site actually built by John Gunzel. He's in the Funnel Builder program. He's also in my group. And he came to me a couple of days ago or something and said, hey, I got this problem. And the problem is that this is a collection. This is your customer center page, obviously. And these, they just don't line up. You see the difference here on the bottom. And when you go to the next page, he's got a whole nother big collection in here. And of course, as soon as I do this, now I have to log back in. Well, let me just, how do I unshare my screen? Susan, are you there?
I'm muted. I took you down. You're good.
Yeah. Let me just log back in there. I
took it down as soon as I saw that login page.
Yeah. Okay.
I just couldn't tell you because I muted myself.
Let's see if there we go. Let's see if I get back in here. There we go. All right. Now, I forget with StreamYard, you got to go back into the tab, not because I'm looking around on my screen like I'm on Zoom, trying to find it. Okay. There we go. Now can you see it again?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. So difference in the height on these two here. So let's go into this next page, and you can see it a lot more here, is that you got all these different height elements here. And he's like, well, how can we fix this? Well, so I started looking at it and I said, all right, let's inspect this, see what we find. And we immediately find here that this was built using grid. So grid is like Flex, but it's a little bit different. You basically have to design the grid pattern through a couple of bits of CSS, but otherwise it's pretty much the same functionality. And in fact, if you look over here, and let me blow this up over here on the right-hand side so we can actually see it a little bit better. Can you guys see the text on the left?
Yep.
Is it big enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So if we're in this grid element right here, and we click on this, you're going to see this looks just like it would for the Flex inside of CF 2.0, inside of a Flex container. So it's essentially the same thing. So I'm looking at this going, okay, how come when we come in here to like this inner collection right here, why is it that that's not stretching all the way down to the bottom? And then I realized that, well, actually it is, because if you see as I highlight over it, the blue box comes all the way down here to the bottom. And so it is actually functioning properly. It's just that what's inside of it is not also stretching the entire height, which is what we wanted to do. And so in order to fix this, what I had to do for John yesterday is let's come into one of these here that's for a long one like this, or a short one, I should say. I had to come into here to the very first element, and I had to say here, display of flex. Okay, that didn't do anything yet. So let's go down to the next one. And we're going to say display of flex. All right, we're still not there yet. Let's go down to the next one. Display of flex. Now we find it doesn't be tall enough. And
so now, Dan, just if I'm following along, that basically you, by going down that, you were going like into the section, the row, the column, the element, right?
Yeah, so each one of these, as you come down here, one is nested inside of the other, nested inside of the other.
Okay.
So again, it's the box inside of the box inside of the box.
Is it a flex box inside of a flex box inside of a flex box? Is that
well, in this case, now it is, because I turned this to display flex. So at that point, once you say display flex, it technically becomes a flex container, which is what we use inside of 2.0. And so I had to turn.
Can I ask a geeky question though on
Sure.
that? Sure. Okay. So I understand how a section can be a flex box. I understand how the row can be sorry, no, let me take that back. So the section, the row, and the column are hard coded into ClickFunnels. So like, I'm not understanding how those three things we can say act like flex when in the elements, it's only at the element level in the UI anyway in 2.0 that we have a flex box.
Because remember the flex box model comes from CSS. Okay. And so any element inside of any HTML element, you can flex by applying the display flex property to the box. It's not a property. It's technically a declaration is what it's called. You can apply that to any element. Then inside of that element, everything inside of there will be flexed. And so you can make it full height. You can make it go to the top or the bottom or whatever you want.
Okay. Just from a language standpoint, when you're saying element, you're not meaning ClickFunnels element, you're meaning code element.
Yeah, and I know it gets confusing because you can say a section in HTML or a section in 2.0 or 1.0. Well, a section in 2.0 is a big box. Well, in HTML, technically that has a class of container.
Got it. Okay.
But when I say element talking about HTML, I'm talking about any level here would be considered to be an element. Whereas in ClickFunnels, you have your sections, your rows, and then your elements.
Right.
But in HTML, the section and the row would also be considered elements.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah. So in this case here, I had to flex all three of these in order to get it to work. And if I come up to any of these above here and I try to turn off the flex, it should stop working. It took a second there. I thought for a second I was wrong, but you actually have to come in and put in these flexes at all three levels. And so if you were to build a box like this, you would have to come in and flex all three of them like that. And it's not that much CSS, but it was kind of, I had to look at this and go, okay, well, is there a way to fix this? And so in here we go. So here is a collection. And what I will do is I will put in a new one here. So let's add an element. And so again, we are on our customer center page. So we want to put in a collection of courses because that's what we want to see at this level is the courses. And we want to go to one column. And for the life of me, I have no idea why they have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 columns here. That just, I can't imagine ever even using that. And then instead of now starting to put in our stuff, we got to come over here and we got to say, okay, there's a row here. And the truth is we don't want that row. So we just going to delete that thing out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in a flex container. So now we have a flex container inside of here. And then inside of the flex container, that's when we are going to start adding our elements. So we're going to put in a name, an image, and a link. And then we want it to look like this down here at the bottom. When we're done, we're going to see here now, they're all lined up side by each. But we don't want that, so we're going to come back into our flex container. And you notice as I make the change to 1, it changes all of them inside the collection. What we want to do here now is we want to change our flex direction to a column. So a top-down column, we have everything in here now. And I could put some background color on it like I did with the other one, just to make it look the same, but I'm going to delete it out anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay. And then, of course, you can also come back into the element itself, and then we can click here, and we can say, how many do we want per row? 3. And let's say we only want 3 total. And I got a dog barking outside for some reason. Hopefully I won't have to chase her down. So this one here, these 2 boxes shouldn't be in there. So let's just delete this element. Okay, so here we have our element now. So let me, let's just go to the live page right here. And this is what we get when we come to our live page now. Although we did this inside of a flex box, we still come to our live page and we still have a problem here because we did not have one level that we still had to take a look at, because it's a level we can't touch inside of the editor because it creates it itself. And it's this level right here, the inner collection content. And so in order to get this to work still, even though I had
Is that the column, Dan?
This technically, let me see here. That's well, I wouldn't call it a column because we're inside of this collection, and so they work differently. Okay. Because it's actually, because remember, we're working with grid here. So we have grid there. So when we come down inside of here, if we go back to John's, we had here at this level, the inner collection center level, we had flex. And so now over here, in order to still get this to work, we have to come in to this level. See, here's the flex that we put in. This one right here. That's the one we put in. Okay. But now we have to come in here and we have to do the same thing again, which is display of flex. Now it makes it the full height of red now, so they're all the same height. And obviously I made a very exaggerated example there. But the only other thing you had to do when you came in here to get this to work was you had to come in, if it's not there, inside of these flex containers, you had to say justification, you want to go to the top. So that one was its old saved version. So you want to make sure you justify this to the top, because otherwise this would have jumped down to the middle of the screen down here. So we come in here, you can see the justification is flex start, whereas we could change that where it normally would be set would be actually flex center. Well, why is it suddenly not working? Am I in the wrong element?
Because we're on demo mode.
You know, it's supposed to work right. Either way, you want it to go up to the top. So you want it to set it to flex start so it goes up to the top. And again, if you didn't have such drastic differences here, they would all line up and be exactly the same height and be nice and even and pretty. So then what you have to do in order to get this to work is you got to grab a hold of this. Let me see if I dropped it into the CSS here. Yeah, so here's what you have to drop into your CSS in order to get that to work. So we just come over here, and I think this should work because I think we can just do the class of the inner collection content and then give it the property and value of display flex, and then that will do it. So that will fix the problem. You only have to do one display flex here if you actually put the flex boxes into these elements. So that is a workaround for that. I doubt if they'll ever fix that one. So
okay. For those of us who are a little less apt at coding, and maybe this is a go join Dan stuff to get answer, but putting the display flex in when you're just inspecting the element is not actually how you fix it. You need to put the code into the into the actual CSS code. So what do you want to
when we're over here and we're inspecting it,
yeah,
you can inspect anybody's site. And so if I were to able to come in here and just start like messing with somebody's code, I could break their site. And obviously the internet would be over in 3 seconds if that could happen.
Right.
And so you have to then determine what is the proper selector. So in this case here, we're using just the selector of this class of inner collection content. The selector says, okay, this is the element that we are focused on. and apply this CSS to that element. And so if I were now to save this page and then preview it and come over here, I would see all the CSS properly put into here as well. I'm not going to do it because I know as soon as I hit save, then it's going to want me to log back in again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Not going to bother. So you just got to trust me on that one.
Cool.
So that's a fix. And so if you see it on your site where it's not lined up and you want to fix it, you know now that there is at least a very simple way to get around it. And most of that is just take out those columns, or not columns, rows that were in here, and replace them with flex boxes.
Awesome. While we're here, before you move on to what you have next, I have another thing for you to add to your list of figuring out how to do and then show it to people. The pagination on the bottom, I discovered that you can click to hide it all day long, but it won't hide it if you have more things that it needs to show than what you're allowing space to show. So let's say you only want the 3 things to show. If you have 4 things, it's always going to put that pagination down there, even if you choose to hide it. So I want a way to hide it permanently because I don't want it to show. My hack for that right now is turn everything transparent. So that it's just not showing.
Yeah, let me I'm sure there's
that could be a later thing. I just put it on your list.
Collection pagination right there. We can probably just say display none, and there it's gone.
Yay.
So so you take the class of collection pagination and you do exactly what we did over here. Oops, I guess we were on the same page still. Where is my code? Still getting used to this. So so we did collection pagination. We would paste that in here. Oops, I didn't paste it. Oh, come on. So we will copy that, paste that in here. The display.
Oh, sorry. We're not seeing that because we're over it. Now we can see it. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So all I did is I just came over here. I copied this class, pasted it in down here, put a period in front of it because a period denotes a class. And then I said display none.
Thank you.
So that should make it go away. Yeah, the CSS stuff is not nearly as hard as people think. I mean, they see code, and I'm going to show you some code here in a little bit, and your eyes glaze over. But once you understand what it means, and there's like dollar signs and parentheses and quotes, and it's like, oh my God, what does all that mean? And once you learn a little bit, you go, oh, okay, this isn't nearly as hard as I thought it was. I mean, come on, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Oh, stop.
All right, so
live in it though. So
that was that one there. I just have
what is CSS? Someone in the comments is asking. What is CSS? I think that I don't know who it is, but I still can't get Facebook to load. I don't know what's happening, but not on my computer, not on my phone. So I'm blind.
CSS is known as cascading style sheets. You can kind of forget what that means. It's the styling on a page. If there was no styling on a page, this page would look pretty boring because this text would be all the same size. It'd be all over here to the left-hand side. It would be all the same color. None of the red would be on the screen here. There wouldn't be any images on the screen. So the CSS essentially puts in those things. So when a page is built, you can see over here, this is all known here as HTML. HTML is the structure of the page. HTML is basically the boxes inside of the boxes, just like the sections, the rows, the columns, the elements that you build in ClickFunnels. You're basically building the HTML. And then the CSS modifies the HTML to look like you want it to look like. It gives you the colorations, it gives you the shadows, it gives you the borders, gives you the rounded corners, everything you want. That's what the CSS does. The HTML is the boxes, the CSS makes it pretty.
Awesome. That's Lisa. She says thank you for the explanation.
All right, now I'm gonna show you something that we discovered yesterday. I don't know if Andrea was still on the call, but we had a call who was it? Tad and somebody.
Tad and Isaac.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were talking about putting videos into a lesson. So here we have a lesson, and let's go into that lesson. And you can upload a video into ClickFunnels now, and you can then make that go into the lesson. And so that's what we did right here. We have it inside of this lesson, and hopefully this one is loaded up right. Okay. So we have this inside of this lesson now. And so if I hit play, that video will start playing right here inside the lesson. And one of them asked, well, is it possible that we have to force somebody to watch X number of minutes in a movie before they can move on, go to the next lesson, do whatever? In this case here, before they could, think of it in terms of before they could get a badge, before they, anything could happen. And I said, well, let me check the code to see if that's possible. And I checked the code. And then last night, or this morning, actually, I
say you didn't do it.
What?
No, say I'm you
so
did
excited.
Do it.
I'm so excited about what you're about to share.
So last night I went back to an old example that I built years ago. And this one here is, I forget where I even got this video from. I'm going to have to reload the page. This is the chick down in Australia, whatever her name is.
Oh, Liz Benny.
Yeah. So you see here, this is counting up over here. The numbers are really small, but it's counting up. But when it gets to 10 seconds, boom, this box just appeared.
Dan Havey.
Yes.
Okay. No. Okay. Can I just wow for a second? Because I don't think people maybe made a connection to how amazing what you just did was. Okay. So if I can summarize it, tell me if I'm wrong, Dan. So since we are now hosting our videos in 2.0, before it was always this really hard connection of if you're in Wistia or Vimeo, Wistia and Vimeo are kind of dumb to ClickFunnels, and you can't really do anything intelligent in terms of video analytics. But now that videos are hosted in 2.0, we know where in the video the person is. And so now what you just did is basically a case where it would be more like an acquisition or a sales funnel, only show this stuff once they get to this point in the video. Brilliant, amazing, awesome for sales in terms of only serious buyers beware, you know what I mean? Awesome. Where I would do though, which is way more exciting, is in a lesson or in a membership area, right? Where you're trying to see once somebody got to this point in the video, prompt them with a question or bring up something on the screen or mark in your analytics engine that they got to that point. Or basically it's intelligent video analytics that now we can trigger something else from. Is that fair assumption to leap into, Dan?
Yeah, because once we apply this code, and it's the simplest damn code in the world. Once you apply the code to it, it'll set a trigger, and once you have that trigger, you can do whatever you want with that trigger.
Yes. Joseph, buy buttons at certain points of videos. You got it.
Buy button, whatever. No, anybody who's looked at Voomly, which is one of Russell's new things that he bought,
the interactive video.
Yeah, that has some of the very similar kind of things, but in that case there you have to use Voomly and have a Voomly account and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can inside of Voomly, once you get to a certain point, you could have text pop up, you got images pop up, you got buttons pop up on the screen. And then when people click on the buttons, actually within the video player itself, it will take you to other videos and whatnot as well. Well, we could do that. We could do all that right here now, right inside a membership area.
Dan Havey, you are awesome. This is so exciting. Okay, cool.
So so what you were looking at over here was the 1.0 version of this.
That video is just too much. It's so funny. It's so funny.
It was, the funny thing is I downloaded this video to Google Firebase 2 or 3 years ago, and it's the only video I have on somewhere on a streaming place that I can use for it. So I just use it. I really don't, I know who she is, but even though I couldn't remember her name. That was it. I don't know where I got the video from. But okay, so watch what happens here now. What I did is I have this button here. The button is set to disappear after 10 seconds. And also I just have here the count up timer, so you can watch it count up if you really want to for 10 seconds. So it just go here, and I'm shooting a video. I have no idea what that video is about, if anything. And when we get to 10 seconds, the box disappears.
Awesome.
So I know it's not that dramatic of a demonstration, but the point of the whole thing is we just set a trigger.
Yeah.
So where I immediately went to that one is like a whack-a-mole kind of. Sorry.
So once you set that trigger, then you can do anything you want with it.
That's awesome.
But it's based upon the video playtime. Now the person's going to say, well, gee, Dan, can't somebody just like grab a hold of this and like move it along the timeline and there you go? Yeah, you can. And let me see here. Will it? Yeah, we're up to 445 seconds now. However, and I didn't have time to put this in there, is you can put into the controls that are into the code a way to turn off the controls. Yeah. So they basically got pause and they got play, and that's it. Yeah. So there's no timeline to scrub along like that if you turn all those things off. So that is also possible in the code.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome. Okay.
Now, I probably wouldn't want to do that with like a 3-hour long video. So you probably want to keep the videos on the shorter side.
But you guys don't have 3-hour long videos.
Right. And just as a general user experience, like I think the only use case where this is like you should do it is more like on the sales side where you really want to control the user experience. I think when you take away control from the customer in places where they typically have control, they tend to get mad. So this is not a good practice for like, I think inside of membership area, but on the sales side, I can appreciate
to remove the control of the video you're saying, but the application of the triggers is very much usable in the
100%. Yes. Yeah.
Well, the only problem with what you said, Andrea, about doing it as a, on a sales page is, at least as of right now, you can only upload videos into the lessons. Mm-hmm. So you can't use them on sales pages anyway. And as far as I know, as of right now, there is no ability to grab a link for this video. Maybe there is, I guess. If we look here, if we come in here, we inspect this video, we should be able to see the source. Yeah, here's the source right here. So I guess in theory, well, I don't know. It's blob colon. What is blob? So I don't know. Here, let's see if we can grab a hold of this link. Let me just copy that and let's see. We'll take the blob off the beginning there because I know it ain't gonna like that. I don't think it's gonna like that. Page not found. So
yeah.
Can you use it or not? Probably not. So yeah, that would. Oh wait, I'm probably grabbing the wrong source. I'm in the wrong place here. Let's try this one. This one here we could probably grab. Well, yeah, I don't need Restream open. Wait, now it downloaded it? What did it just do? Command V. Yeah, I don't know what I did that made something download. Why is it downloading?
It's not what you want people to be able to do.
Oh, it just downloaded an MP4 for me, I think.
Of the video?
Yeah, it must have. Either way, whatever. We won't play with that on the fly because, we're just breaking things now.
That's a little problematic, though. We should probably figure out what that's doing at some point because you don't want people to be able to go into the source code and grab your video and then be able to download it. Like the whole point was to be able to protect your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to.
So if you discover that's what it's doing, please report it.
Yeah, I might have grabbed the wrong one because here's the one that's an MP4. Actually, this one here was an application.
Okay, Christopher's excited too. I love it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm happy for Christopher.
You have fans, Dan.
So okay, here's a chance for you to plug or whatever you want to do. But where can we learn how to use?
Welcome back.
There
you go. Whoa! Did you see that, kids? There you go.
What happened?
I just played the video. I grabbed the proper link this time, and I actually played the video. So yeah, you can actually use the videos that you store inside of ClickFunnels anywhere. You just have to make it go live in a page, in a lesson. You have to make it go live in the lesson, then come over here and grab the source URL, but make sure you grab one that has the type of video MP4 right there. So make sure you grab that and then leave everything behind except for that we're up to the MP4 part, wherever the extension is there.
So I suppose you could create a course in your account for the only reason of like using it as your video library. So you could just have a bunch, all your videos that you just want to have hosted in ClickFunnels, but they're not really, you need to use them elsewhere, not in a course. You just create your own little video library inside of a course for you to access. Only you.
There you go.
So now you would grab a hold of this video and you'd have to put it into, let me think. Actually, now I think about it, I don't know if you could actually use this back again inside of ClickFunnels because it's not being hosted anywhere at that point if we're just grabbing the link.
Well, I don't know. That would be, so you'd want to grab a video element and then go put it in there and see if it will actually work.
No, I know what you could do is you could actually not put, because I don't think you can drop that, because that's the straight up URL for that video. I don't think you could do that. What you could do is you would put in an HTML element and you would use a video tag with a source, and then you would drop this into the source of the video tag, and then you could actually do everything we just showed with the timer and making stuff pop up.
Nice.
So that would actually work. That would actually work. So
all right. So it sounds like Dan needs to make a lesson or course on how to do this and how to use the video timer triggers, and then tell us how to get that.
Yes, I agree.
$1 million.
Unless you ask it in a comment in a Facebook post.
Or show up to his Q&A and ask him there.
Right. There's all kinds of ways to get money out of me. Or get free work out of me, apparently. These girls have figured it out. All right, do we want to look at one last thing, or are we out of time?
I still have 15 minutes.
Okay, we have more time. We have more time than I thought we did originally. So this is definitely longer than 20 or 30 minutes.
I can kill that. I can kill this. All right, so this is the ClickFunnels main page now. So if you put in ClickFunnels.com, this is where you end up. I stopped the video playing because it was just annoying as hell. So let's take a look at.
But I have to say, if you are in the ClickFunnels world now and you want to understand the main message, the new video is awesome, and I highly recommend you take a look at it. So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but for it to be on loop here while we're talking about this is annoying.
Would be annoying, yes.
I agree.
You're right.
Okay, so they got a couple things up here at the top, and this is probably the most interesting thing on the page. Is this part is not terribly interesting, but if you come in here, you see you got the little caret there flipping over. That's like 2 lines of CSS to do that. So you say on hover, you're going to transform, rotate, and then you're going to have a transition of like half a second. That's it. But here's the interesting one. This here. So this is a regular navigation element inside of ClickFunnels. And when I hover over this, look what it shows up.
Is this a collection?
This is actually a section on a page. So let me just show you the entirety of it.
Oh, right. Because we did see that on a page earlier, like a couple weeks ago. Yes.
I should have looked at this a little more closely again this morning. Here is this. Is where I have to go. Nope, that's not it. Is this?
So if I'm getting what you're getting at, they took a section that's on a page and they inserted that into the drop down of the menu.
Yeah. And if I could find, okay, maybe it's here. I wasn't up high enough. There we go. So when right here, you got this sub menu item. So you got your L Navigator desktop right here. This is the navigation element in and of itself. Then you have this first button. And when you hover over this button, as I did down here, I changed the state down here to hover. So then it will show that entirety of that section. And we know that it is a section because we come down here and we can see that it's a section.
So is it like just a show hide and they're moving all of it down, or is that over top?
Well, it's over the top.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not pushing everything down, the stuff behind it. It is over the top. So I suspect somewhere in here there might be a Z index set. I don't know. There may be not.
Joseph, you got it right. Mega menu. I'm having flashbacks. So, okay, Joseph, you will probably appreciate this. So there's a guy, his name is Peter Morville. He's the king of information architecture. He's, one of the 4 leading experts in information architecture. Anyway, there was, back in the day, we had this massive debate about whether mega menus were a good thing or a bad thing in the UX world. Like, it still is like a big debate. They're popular right now. You see them more, but for a very long time, they were very frowned upon. And so now, like, the growing sentiment is that you have a smaller hierarchy than a big hierarchy. And so that's where mega menus kind of started to get their claim to fame, was in the collapse of the hierarchy of website navigation and long scrolls. So it's interesting to me, like the mega menu. I think the hardest thing with mega menu is you're trying to convey a lot of information to help somebody know, like, is this the thing you want, in a very, very little tiny space. That's the hardest thing about mega menus.
Is any of that clickable, or is it pretty much just for information? Just take it in right here. Oh, it is clickable.
It is 100% clickable.
Where does it take you?
Well,
just further down the page.
Well, no, actually, these are all individual pages. So if I click on this here, it's going to take me to a different sales page. So when I come up here and I go here, I'll click on this, I'll go to online courses.
They actually have stuff on their site to learn about what it is.
Global products. So yeah, I mean, they got this thing fully built out as far as I can tell. Yeah. And each one of these is a different page. And I would guess this is a universal section up here at the top. So they don't have to keep rebuilding it. So how they did this, and Susan had the answer right, is they actually appended a section. So they built this section somewhere on the page. It doesn't matter where, probably at the very bottom. That's where I would have built it. And they append it to that. Let me see here if I can find the right one.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know who just posted that, but so Entreport, which is another one of the CRMs out there. Joseph did. Yeah. So Entreport is doing this, he says, for solutions and resources at the top of their menu for better or worse. Yeah, it's really interesting. And I got to hand it to Entreport. So I worked in Entreport for 2 clients. And I was really impressed with some of the UX on Entreport. I think they make some things really accessible. I think the then overlap with ClickFunnels is too much for me to be okay with having both solutions. And it's pretty pricey, Entreport is, but it's interesting. I do think that they have some fairly decent UX. And so it's interesting that they're using that too.
Okay. So this here, you see over here in the code. So this says grab an element that has an ID of mega menu and append it to the hashtag, the ID of product drop down, L navigation, blah, blah, blah. So it says append to, basically says grab this section from wherever it is on the page and stick it into this box, which is this drop down. Well, there's nothing in this drop down except now what is this box. So it took the section and it stuck it in there. And you see here, it's all of one line of code, or whatever. So it's just this singular line of code right here does this whole thing. So you build that somewhere else, and then you just say, okay, append this entire thing up into there. Now, how they got everything to be clickable, that's the rest of this here, and that's for another day. Because actually I look at the way they did it and I'm just like, I'm not a huge fan of the way they did that. So when I rebuild this,
I love that so much, Dan.
It's going to be built differently. But because you see here, as you come in just into this, well, let's see, what is this? Is it a row? What do we got here? They probably built this thing with Flex too. Yeah, they did. All right, let me go back up here and turn this thing on so we can actually see it. Okay, section container, universal. Oops, I went too far. Come here, inspect this. Is this? That's not right. What's this? Was this it? All right. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay. So this mega menu, where is it? Right here, right here. This is our mega menu. And this was then appended to this element right here. Appended means make it the first child element inside of the element itself. So you got an element, which is our L Navigator menu drop-down holder as a box. This is saying make this the first box inside of that box. And so, because there's nothing else in the box, so whether you append or prepend, it doesn't really matter. So it's in there. And then, so what we started to look at here was then each one of these is then apparently, that's just a column. And so what they're doing then is with that other code that I showed you down at the bottom, they're making each one of these columns a clickable link.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, you essentially have to take that column and you have to wrap it with anchor text in order to make it a clickable link. They kind of did it a little bit differently. There's a couple different ways you can do it, but that's essentially what it is. You don't want just you don't want to have the element, each one of these individual elements, the image, the icon, whatever that is, the text. You don't want them all to have to be individually clickable. You want the entirety of that column to be clickable, but you can't make a clickable column.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to trick it with a little bit of JavaScript in order to make it clickable. But either way, it's pretty slick the way they did it.
You know what I still find interesting, though? Why they keep making the choice to use all of this coded stuff in their stuff on their pages and in their membership areas that you can't actually natively do with ClickFunnels. It's just an interesting choice, I think.
Yeah. It's now, will they eventually make this an element? They may well. I mean, like I said, we were talking before, there are things in the membership areas that are now hard coded that they're intending on making into elements. So that could be it. They built this thing and said, okay, we're going to build it. We're going to test it. And then if everybody likes it, we'll just turn it into an element, which this would not be a terribly difficult.
It's actually not bad.
I mean, this is basically, it's a collection at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I mean,
I think if that's their intention, where they're just testing it, seeing if there's a demand for it, and then they can turn it into actually a usable, user-friendly way of using it inside of ClickFunnels, I think that's great.
Yeah, and it could be that nobody ever clicks on this and nobody sees it, and so they don't care. But they did the exact same thing down here as far as turning each one of these columns into a clickable link.
Yeah.
So it's the same effect down there. Let me see. There was a couple other places, at least one. I thought there was maybe a couple. Well, so we had this here. We had our FAQs down here at the bottom. That again is also a little bit of JavaScript, and all that says. So these are two rows, and so it says when you click on one row, show the other one below it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the exact same stuff, Andrea, that we use in our membership sites with our boxes at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So you click on one of them and it's known as a slide toggle. So it just slides the other one down. You click on it again, it slides it back up. So thus the toggle. So if it's hidden, it shows it. If it's showing, it hides it.
Nice.
And it just toggles back and forth when you click on it. And it's based on the trigger is based on a row. Not an actual element.
Awesome.
So that is just about it. I don't know anything else that's too exciting on this page, but I figured everybody would get a kick out of this. So we go.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
For sure. It's a nice looking site. I think, is it, hopefully I get this right. I think Daniel Barbosa.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the one that helped design the site. So shout out to him. I don't know if he's in either of our groups, but yeah, I like it. It's nice and clean. It looks like a software site. It doesn't look like a funnel like their other one used to look like a ClickFunnels template. They're maturing. That's what I feel like. They're coming into their own of looking like they belong to a bigger market now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's well said.
So what you're saying is they're all grown up.
They're all grown up now. They just need to make the
Not quite.
software, the platform
they're
actually work.
I think they're like in like that mid-20s where like you're really starting to get interesting, you know? Like I think they're kind of in that like maybe early 30s, you know?
And if you look at this on mobile too, it looks really good on mobile. They got the borders, the shadows, rounded, and you got the text, and you got the image on each of these. They got them all stacking properly. So it's
I do really love the shadows and the corners and being able to do those like in so easily, and they look so nice. And it's just it's night and day from what you could do in 1.0 with the shadows that they gave you. It's like,
so
those
true.
Don't look good at all.
Straight out of the box, 1.0 was definitely lacking CSS. And so they go from four wide to 2 wide down here at the bottom. That works out great. A couple of videos. Were there videos on the first page?
I don't remember any of that.
Must have went past it so fast.
Oh,
okay,
there are. There they are.
Right, so those are 3 wide, and here we went 2 wide. So
do you think are they using how would they be doing that? Like, because it's going from 3 to 2 my brain's not wrapping my head around how you would use Flex to do that. Or did they just make a mobile version and a desktop version of this row section?
It's showing here desktop. And
just show us desktop only. Yeah.
And then here's the mobile version of it. Turn that off. Oops. Yeah. Okay. So they did. So here's the mobile version. They did 2 wide mobile version.
Okay. So desktop only, mobile only, and that's probably how they also did the other stuff down below, or was it above the 4 to 2?
Yeah. Most likely. I'm pretty sure this was all Flex up here. But you could actually technically in Flex, they don't actually, when you do Flex in here, let me just show you this. They are missing an element. And I know a request has been put in. I have +1'd it. But what they're missing here is Flex Wrap. So when you do a Flex container inside of 2.0, it does not have Flex Wrap. So what you could actually do is you could put all 6 of these in a line, and then you can say, I want them to wrap, and then make each one of these 33% wide. And so then it would go 3 across. But now that I think about it, that really wouldn't work then to go to then mobile, because mobile then we want to go 2 wide on mobile.
Yeah, you'd still have 3 at 33%. Yeah. They probably just did desktop and then mobile.
Yeah, then I guess on mobile, then what I would do is I would just use a media query, and I would say that if you're below 770 pixels, to make the width of each one of these elements 50% instead of 33. You could do that, or you could probably quicker clone the damn thing and just make it 2-column row versus 3. So it's however you want to do it. I mean, that's the thing. People can overcomplicate this stuff sometimes. Sometimes it's just easier to clone an element or clone a row and just do it real fast.
Yeah. We have Dylan in the comments, and he said someone upvote CSS grid. Do you know what that is?
Well, grid is what we had.
That's what you were showing initially.
We were looking at that at the beginning, huh?
Yeah, this was grid here.
Oh, Dylan is saying someone upvote CSS grid.
Oh, Dylan is asking. Is that?
He's saying like someone up it. It sounds like somebody has some e-com products or something. That's why, like when I look at the grid, I'm like, I wonder. I mean, I guess you could like do your list of courses and things like that, but
Well, tell Dylan to drop the link for it into the groups, and then we can all +1 it.
Yeah. Well, I just realized that I said that like I don't know how many weeks. It feels like forever ago, but it was probably just like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, where I said I'm gonna be dropping links to different feature requests into the group so we can all upvote them, and I only ever did one. So we'll go find that one and we'll drop it into the group so everyone can upvote it.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
That's all I got, kids.
Awesome.
All
That
right.
was a lot. Like that was exciting. We had some excitement. We have some cool things that you showed us.
The video is by far the thing I'm the most excited about.
Yes.
But although the flex management and for organization and visibility is also too cool.
Yes. If you guys are new to Dan Havey, go and join his group if you want to. Dan, tell us. CF Ninja Hacks.
Just go to cfninjahackers.com. It'll redirect you to the blog. cfninjahackers.com.
Yes. Awesome. We have last minute things coming in here. As an element type for CF, because you mentioned you were +1 some feature somewhere. The CSS grid would allow for breakpoints for different columns.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Which at some point, not right now, Dan, so don't go into it. At some point, what I would love to learn is a deep dive into the pros and cons of CSS grid versus the infinite flex box concept that we were talking about. But don't do it. Don't go into it.
I won't do it now until Dylan gets them to put grid into CF2. Then we can talk about it. Until it's in there, I'm not going to start telling people they need to start coding with grid, because then we're all going to knock off one pager, and then those guys will go out of business and then they'll cry. And, we don't want to do that to them. So we don't want to be knocking off pagers. So.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay. Dan, thanks for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you guys all for being super geeky with us too. Love the super geek outs.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye guys.